Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Key Factors Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jones, and we are powered by ReviewMyMortgage.com, which is the largest index of mortgage programs nationally. And today we're going to be discussing a very fun topic, in my opinion. It's going to be transitioning from Realtor to lender with Jody Trevino. Jody, How you doing?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Doing very well. So this episode, I want as much transparency as possible, hopefully without offending anybody.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but you never know. We have plenty of mortgage, real estate, and consumers listening and tuning into these episodes. So we want to paint the real picture. So that being said, you, Jody Trevino, have joined Directions Home Loan and previously were Realtor with, please help me.
Yeah, with Phyllis Browning Company.
Phyllis Browning, very good. And prior to that, we're with Keller Williams on a mass producing team. So tell me about your experience, what you went through, where you came from, all that good stuff first.
Sure. Do you want me to start like high school? Because that's kind of when my sales career started.
I mean, give us a brief explanation of what you did in high school as far as the sales experience goes and transitioning from that led you into real estate and then wrapping it up essentially with why you moved into lending. And then we'll kind of caveat and go forth.
Okay. I'll make it as quick as possible.
No worries.
So when I was junior in high school, that's kind of when my sales career started. And I've been in commission sales forever. Never had like an hourly work job. So I was working for the local State Farm agent. I would basically reach out to our customers, ask them to refinance their vehicles with us. If they did, boom, I got a commission. Okay. So then transition, I graduate high school and I'm going to UTSA and I'm paying for it on my own. And I'm partying and not doing good, right?
Sure.
Not doing what I'm supposed to.
And I can't say we've all been there, but I have been there.
Right. So then, and at the time I was working at Nordstrom, which again is commission sales. I was selling shoes. So it came down to, what am I going to do? Because I'm not making the grades and I'm getting loans and I was just a little bit lost. And so I originally went to college. I thought I was going to be a plastic surgeon. That was my dream job.
Okay.
I had a conversation with my advisor one day and he's like, hey, before you can be a plastic surgeon, you have to be a general surgeon.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I'm out.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I did not want to.
But I'm ready to nip tuck.
Exactly. So that got that out of the way. And then naturally, I just kind of ended up in real estate. So I was 19 years old, just dropped out of college and paid for my licensing exam and became a realtor. And so I started with a pretty big Keller Williams branch here on a team. And this is where my journey begins.
Gotcha.
So I had a gentleman that asked me for a long time to be on his team. And I was like, okay, cool. He brought me in. He's like, I'll pay your entry fees, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, there was a lot tied to that.
Okay.
As far as expectation from me in a personal sense.
I see.
That made me uncomfortable. So I went on my own, started doing open houses, that sort of thing, hustling. And I did fairly well. But then I got to a point in 2018 where I was just out of money. And that was the first time I got in the car business.
Gotcha. Okay.
I did that for 6 months. And then I knew I'm going to do this, save money to get back to what I love doing. So hop back into real estate on a team again. And that didn't work out either. One thing that I would find is as I interacted with more people and talked to more people is a lot of people will promise you things and tell you things to get you to get with them.
Signed up.
And then it's gone.
And that is, I believe, something that is it sucks, but it is common in this industry. It is essentially the recruiting piece of it that you're trying to build a team as a top producer on the real estate side, mortgage side, and you tend to overpromise and underdeliver a little bit because you yourself are still building. You don't know what is the blueprint thus far for building this perfect team. So you're doing trial and error, I would imagine, and you were the victim or product of that.
And I think when you have those conversations initially with people, everybody gets excited, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's excited and then it happens. And now we have to figure this out. Now, the difference in the second situation was the people that I was with, they're amazing. I learned so much from them. I just think our expectations of each other were not the same. And so that kind of ended that one. And that's
question. Being that you were younger in this industry, do you believe that maybe that stint had anything to do with the fact that you may had not known yourself and what you wanted to do just yet?
1,000%.
Okay, gotcha.
1,000%. Yeah. What I believed was right in the world at 19, I don't believe today. And I think as we get older and we have hard conversations like that in hard situations, we learn. But I do want to make clear that over all those years, I did find some amazing mentors. And then at that point, where I would come in and come out was basically just me figuring out how to run a business at 19, 20 years old. So that didn't work. So then I went to Phyllis Browning Company, and that's kind of where I found my footing in the industry. So I was there for, I think, almost 3 years, because technically I'm still there. I've got some real estate deals closing there still. And in the back of my head, I always had the interest in mortgage. And I kind of, maybe you'll keep this part, maybe you won't, but I noticed how I was struggling and I was out there hunting, and I was so loyal to these title people, to these lenders. And I just realized that there is a side of this business where their business is leveraging realtors. And I saw that. And to me, it was like, well, I've got 6 years of realtor title relationships here. People that like me, love me, would do business with me. I've always wanted to do mortgage. To me, it was a natural transition.
No brainer in that.
And it's already worked in that sense.
Sure. So now back to something you were mentioning a moment ago, which has to do with your transition to becoming a lender. You thought to yourself, I'm going to utilize what I've already learned thus far to then leverage in this new career path that I'm going to take, which essentially, it's not necessarily, I can't say it's a dramatic career path change, but it definitely is different. And we'll go over that here shortly. But I did want to make sure to spotlight something, which is you can be a realtor and a lender at the same time.
Correct.
Technically, just not on the same deals. And some would beg to differ as far as being on the same deals. I, for one, I steer towards the more conservative route on that. No reason to have the CFPB looking in on my stuff just because I want to make extra money, when you could essentially refer those deals out to a realtor.
Well, and at the end of the day, as a realtor, and I don't know if this is as a lender too, but as a realtor, at least you have a fiduciary duty to your client.
Right.
So if you're also the lender on the deal, you're going to get paid on both sides. Can you truly service your client like you're supposed to?
I'll agree with you 100% on that.
But that's an ethics thing.
Is it Realtor or Realtor?
It's Realtor. I'll never forget it. When I first got in the business, Steve Collins taught me a ton. And he always said, do you want to be a realtor or do you want to be a realtor? And so I've always distinguished the difference for people now. But transitioning, I would say that one thing that has given me an upper leg, and that I think my clients have come to appreciate, and my realtor partners, is I do have that realtor cap.
Yeah.
And so, obviously I'm not going to advise a client. They have a realtor for that. But if they have a question about, what's earnest money or what's 12A1B in the contract, what does all this mean for me? Well, I can answer. Or I have newer agents I work with now, and they can call me and ask a question about a contract, or should I attach this addenda and that sort of thing. So I do think in that sense, I have a little bit of an advantage where I can bring a little more value versus just that lender side of it.
And I agree 100% with that. I've actually seen it firsthand with you.
Or heard it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in discussing, let's say, the differences between being a realtor and a lender, actually, let's start with the similarities. What types of similarities do you see in the two different careers that one may help or leverage with the other?
Similarities, it's all the same mission. It's all the same goal. To meet someone who's maybe never owned a home before, never thought they could, or they've owned 10 homes and they want to buy a rental, whatever. The goal is to serve the client at the highest level and get them from A to B as smoothly as possible. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I wouldn't say there's a lot of similarities. I will say that when I got into lending, I thought I knew what it was. There was a lot more to it than I thought there was, but thankfully, I fell in love with the process.
Sure.
There's a lot more behind the scenes with lending. There's a lot more puzzle solving. And for me personally, it's just more gratifying. I feel more instrumental to the process.
I like that. Without, I guess, taking anything from the realtor side, that was a great way to put it. It's you are a bit more instrumental to the process when you're dealing with buyers, of course. Yeah. On the selling side of things, completely different. We're not even involved, so to speak. But more times than not, we have the buyer on the buying side, obviously. Correct. But in your experience thus far, what differences? Let's talk about those differences itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the conversations are very different. I think they all start the same. But from a realtor's perspective, in my opinion, the weight that they really carry is the emotional side of the transaction or the purchase. So they're dealing with a seller freaked out on Saturday and, or their dog passed away or whatever. So many life events where as lenders, we care and we want to know what's going on with our client's life because that helps us better give them options. But we're having more of a financial conversation,
Right.
of a wealth building conversation, of how to take yourself from here to there. Whereas when I was a realtor, it was a lot more time on task with the client, talking about life and what's happening. And yeah, I would say that this side is not as emotional as the realtor side. I enjoy getting to work with all the realtors. That's one thing that's very different as a lender, is all the people that I liked and loved as realtors who were my competition, even though we cooperate. Now they're my friends, and I can help them, and
they're partners,
and I can bring their business to another level, or maybe provide a level of service that they weren't getting before to their clients. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to list out differences, but to me, they are entirely different.
So most folks would say, I got into lending because I love numbers. And then when you get in, it's only maybe a third numbers, another third customer service and setting expectations and knowing your programs, educating yourself, things of that nature. I mean, was it a surprise to you, the lack of numbers that you tend to deal with?
Yeah. I mean, we have programs that do numbers for us.
There you go.
I think you definitely have to have an understanding of numbers and how things work. What's always made me excited, other than obviously making the client happy and achieving their dream, is finding the deal. I've always loved that. And I've always loved, when I was a realtor, loved to work with realtors that we could work together to find the deal. Well, now it's like client doesn't think they can do anything, or they think this is going to die. And as the lender now, I can say, well, look, you could go this way, you could go this way. I love the solving part of it, which I think was missing a little bit more when I was a realtor. So,
and I can attest to that part of this. I mean, you've got the customers that are appreciative and all those things, but the greatest, to me, challenge is solving the problems. The person that comes to you and says, I don't know how to purchase a home. Matter of fact, 2 people have told me I can't. I'm here to get a third opinion sometimes.
Yeah.
What can you do for me? That, in essence, is one of the greatest, I don't know, pleasures that you would get on this side, in addition to obviously making money, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And talking about the making money thing, being that real estate, in my opinion, you guys get paid quite a bit when you're on Realtor.
This is true.
As you were leaving the industry, or as you leave the industry, I'm sorry, not the industry, that position within the industry, do you see a dropping of commissions, a shrinking of margins, things of that nature with your, what are they called, open door? Obviously, Zillow's out of the market for now.
Yeah,
so
they messed up big time.
that leaves a little bit of less competition.
Right.
But are you seeing any of that?
Yeah, I mean, do you mean as far as consumers moving more toward like that digital side of it?
Digital side,
Yeah,
the only way really to compete is to drop your commission unless you can provide an outstanding, noticeable customer service experience that the customer perceives as an additional, 2% sometimes.
This is true. I will say that when I got in the industry, and I was a realtor for 6 years, which is crazy to think because I'm only 25, but I got in when I was 19. Over those 6 years, I would say that I even in that short amount of time, experienced the shift. I noticed over the years, for newer agents especially, it got harder and harder and harder for them to get to the consumer. When I first got in, you could do open houses and people would come through. You could cold call people on list, and it was effective. But I've noticed as things continue to move, more information is out there, consumers are studying and becoming smarter. Yeah, the technology is moving between the agent and the client, but I will say that I don't think realtors will go away altogether. That might be controversial, but I just think it's going to become an industry where you've either been in it for a long time, you have that book of business, but I think it's going to get more and more challenging for newer agents to come in and build a business.
Sure. Now, that kind of sparked the COVID conversation, in essentially where a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, COVID took place and wreaked havoc all over the United States, but homes were still being sold. Matter of fact, homes were being refinanced at an all-time high. Rates were at an all-time low.
Yep.
We did see a bit of our referral partners within the industry on our side, and I don't think you got to see that shift, but on our side, we did see realtors slow down quite a bit. On the listing side, I don't think they skipped a beat, but on the buyer side, we had lack of inventory. We had multiple offer situations, and it almost led, quite a few, especially myself, of our realtor or referral partners to look at other avenues for generating income for the time being. Now, obviously, in my opinion, we're back on course, especially here in Texas, but it was scary for some. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to go back real quick to the Zillow thing, and them basically screwing up big time. I think what that highlighted is there are a lot of realtors out there, and not all realtors are created equal. I think that's very important. But if you do have a good, strong agent on your side, it's very important, because what Zillow was doing is they were going out and they're saying, okay, we'll buy your house for our Zestimate. Well, most good realtors know that's BS, right? It's not a real number. Well, then what happens? Zillow's stuck with all these homes that they can't sell because they pay too much for them. So I think in that sense, yes, that highlighted, hey, it's important to have a strong agent on your side, but with other companies like Open Door and that sort of thing, if that fits your situation, you may not want a realtor.
Well, let's talk about the Zillow thing for a moment.
Yeah.
And I haven't had an opportunity to speak about this, but in my opinion, there's so many different ways that Zillow still came out ahead with this. Yes, they had to lay off plenty of workers. They had to offload all of these or unload all of these properties at a discount, so to speak. But in the grand scheme of things, Zillow is still Zillow. They're still a powerful company that is not just an online estimator. They've got realtors, they've got mortgage lenders,
Correct.
They've got lead generators, they've got tools up the wazoo. I don't think it's a failing company, but I think people fail to realize that we made them who they are.
Correct.
By donating to the cause
Right.
in exchange for warm leads, so to speak.
Yeah. And I don't think that Zillow's a failing company either. I think that their loss highlighted that the realtor may know more than an algorithm on the computer.
Sure.
Especially in Texas, because we're a non-disclosure state. So they may have pricing that Zillow will never even see that your realtor has access
That's
to.
That's very true.
But as far as Zillow as a company, their cutting edge is when you ask a consumer, where do they look for homes? They look on Zillow. Well, typically they're going to attach a preferred agent to that. Well,
correct.
That costs money. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to newer agents, that's where the divide is coming in.
Yeah.
Because you have these people that can afford to spend the money. And so they do, and they get the leads. But where does that leave the new people? And so that's why I'm saying I think it's going to make our industry, or at least on the realtor side, a smaller industry.
A smaller pool. And that is my belief as well, is realtors will never go away.
Yep.
They will hopefully parlay and get bigger as far as teams go, or top producers, kind of like in comparison to what's happening with our economy. You're going to have the wealthy that get very wealthy, the not so wealthy, we'll call it lower class, that becomes very lower class. And then your middle class is kind of stuck in the middle.
Where do they go?
Yeah. Right? So
they get into real estate.
Right. Or they jump on a team.
Yeah.
That's why the teams end up getting so big, because there's a reason for teams, so to speak. You've got a team lead or a top producer that is creating a funnel, multiple funnels for leads, for customers, previous clients, listings, all of these different things that there's more that's coming in than what they personally can handle.
Correct. Or want to.
Correct. And adding additional team members that have the same level of education, same level of tenacity, things of that nature. It's very rare that you find someone that you add to your team that can just take it over one day, because there's a reason why it is the XYZ team or the whatever the case may be. But that being said, I mean, is that what you believe as well, kind of the shift with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, we will probably see teams get bigger and bigger, and we're already seeing that. And when it comes to teams, I totally believe in teams. Like, I think it's a great thing to have. What I found about myself, personality-wise, is because my goal is to have a team one day. Sure. I believe in it 1,000%. I just think personality-wise, I'm not the guy who belongs on a team.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I did go to teams because I wanted the security, and I wanted the coaching and consulting, and I wanted that sense of I'm in this with somebody else. But I just think with my personality and my goals, it didn't line up.
It makes sense. You need to eventually have your own team.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. And I'll add this, since we are just briefly talking about teams, Gary Vee had mentioned something that has always stuck with me. And I tell my loan officers, I tell you guys, which creating a team is not a numbers game. It's a talent game.
Correct.
So you only add members to your team when what you're doing is already working.
Correct. Steve Collins always coached us that when you have a team if you add anyone to your team, they should double your income.
Sure.
If that doesn't happen, it's probably not the right fit.
Right. Or you should work harder yourself.
Or you need to coach and consult them better, or something is missing.
It's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that in order to determine if you need a team or not, you've got to reach your max potential first, or
Correct.
else you would not know what it was like to be able to coach those additional team members to their max potential as well.
Correct.
So yeah, that was a good topic as far as teams. Maybe I'll come back and have an episode just on creating teams.
Don't have a team if you don't need it.
I agree.
If you're sitting around doing nothing and your team's looking to you for leadership, you shouldn't have a team.
Well, and I think,
in my opinion,
it's not a wrong opinion. Well, it's an opinion.
It's an opinion. Yeah.
I think the perception is, let me get a team or hire an assistant so that I can do less, work less, make a little bit less money. But at the end of the day, I'm bringing them in. Let's push it off to them.
Yeah.
When, in my opinion, as a leader, as a branch manager, my goal is to create a team for you before you need it, because I see the writing on the wall.
Sure.
That being said, you've still, like you said, have to double that production for it to make sense. And I won't necessarily say double the production. I'll say you need to see a dramatic increase in the production, because that was the overall goal of adding the team member.
Right.
So let's bring it back to
the journey.
Your journey.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say, because I think we kind of skipped over the journey part. And one thing I've always wanted to tell people, and it took me years to learn. I know I'm not super old, but I can say that because I've been doing this a little while. But I had a really rough journey coming up in real estate. And part of it was people having ulterior motives for what they wanted from me. Part of it was me letting people down in the industry, never my clients.
Gotcha.
And then part of it too was, I don't know if you remember, but when I was with Phyllis Brown and Company, social media was a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And, I heard from some of the most successful people, like Josh Altman, for example. I got to meet him. So many people say, well, fake it till you make it, which to a certain extent, right?
Right.
And so I created this image on social media that I was this luxury agent, because that's who I am and that's who I wanted to be, right? And I got a lot of shit talk.
Yeah,
right?
negative
feedback, people posting about me on social media, just a lot of judgment. But what I've learned with where I am now is, if you are a young person getting in an industry like this, and like for me, I went from this brokerage to cars, back to real estate, back to cars. And now I'm here. It's like, all of that doesn't matter, right? Because this is my journey.
I agree.
And the other thing that I noticed was the only people complaining and talking crap was other people in the industry. My clients love the videos. My clients love me. It was just people hating. And when you're young, that's hard. That's hard to go through, especially when it's people maybe you've looked up to, or they're twice your age, they're very successful. It hurts. So I just think that if someone wants to be in an industry where they're a young entrepreneur and they're hustling, you really, really have to be tough. You have to just ignore that and know, like, hey, this is my story. I'm 25. And if it took me all that to figure this out for today, I'm good with that.
I love that. And you know what? I'm going to go as far as to say, it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 52.
I agree.
It's your journey. And I too had the similar pushback from friends, from relatives, from industry professionals when I started using social media when no one else was, back in 2012, 13, 14. And it bothered me for a little while. And then after a good little while, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to them after they give me whatever. You're posting too much, or why is it? I'm just going to tell them it's not for you.
Yeah.
Unfollow or scroll past. Your fingers are fast enough. But I believe it took a little while, like you were saying, to be comfortable with, I'm going to post. I'm going to let people know that I'm here to stay. This is what I do, and I want to be your person.
And I think if you're a normal human, you want to assess, okay, is what I'm doing right or wrong? And so when you hear that talk and those comments and blah, 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 well, it kind of forces you to think, am I doing something wrong here? And so it's kind of that mental battle internally that you have to deal with. But to highlight what I was saying, because you said you got some of that pushback too.
Oh, sure.
Was it ever from a client?
No, it wasn't. Matter of fact, I gained clients through and by way of that, which is why I continue to persist with that means of marketing, with that means of telling my story, painting the picture of my journey. And it was until I realized that, wait a minute, I'm still getting customer no matter the negative feedback I get in the DMs. that it gave me the confidence to say, it's not for you.
Right.
Keep on rolling.
Don't watch it.
Or scrolling.
Yeah, keep scrolling, baby.
They see me scrolling. That's funny. But yeah, no, I definitely see how that could deter you from continuing to market that way, to put yourself out there. And I think the term put yourself out there is what it truly is. You've got to be vulnerable in the sense that you're not just sharing good congratulatory type posts. It's all about the journey. So your downfalls, your triumphs, and your tragedies, you know, and that's what makes you you. I tell people quite often, don't just post your industry knowledge, your industry stuff. You've got to be more personal. And matter of fact, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about social media. No, it's not even aired yet. So it was, I typically would tell people 80-20 rule. 80% your personal, 20% business. But now I believe it's shifted more towards 90-10.
Yeah. And I think it depends on you as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, if people like the content you're putting out around the industry, then maybe it won't bother them. I don't know. But I think when it comes to social media, yes, there's rules of thumbs like that. But I think it's also very subjective to who your audience is.
That subjective word.
I know, right?
So that being said, as far as the social media stuff goes, now that you're in the lending world, do you feel a bit more empowered, a little bit more confident in putting yourself out there yet again on social media in a different industry?
Yeah, I do. I think because here I have the freedom to do that and I'm celebrated for what I do. Before I was trying to be controlled and told how to appear on social media, which doesn't work for me because I like to be authentic.
Be you.
Yeah, I think, and I think I told you this the other day, but I was kind of waiting to find my groove here and get settled in. And yeah, now I think I'm ready to get back on that social media grind because I love it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun to do.
So question, talking more about the mortgage side and your transition. I know that you went through, Jody is actually one of the loan officers that I recently hired, brought on, and I saw something in him that I knew he would be great at this industry if he applied himself, and turns out that he fell in love with it just as I did, helping people, solving the problems, all of those things. But when we first got you on board, we put you through a Zenix course, and then we did some kind of shadowing, and then started helping review my mortgage customers.
Right.
What was your experience with that like? Do you think that it helped you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the cliche answer is do loans and you'll learn how to do loans. That's what helped me the most. Obviously, coming in with 6 years as a realtor, I had a little bit of a real estate foundation, but going through the Zenix training gave me the foundation to be a lender, right? So I knew the contracts, I know the terms, blah, 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 but there's a lot to our side of the industry that I was unfamiliar with. So I think the Zenix helped me a lot. I'm not a bookworm, so it wasn't my favorite thing.
Gotcha.
But it was extremely helpful. And then, yeah, I mean, our culture here is incredible. I talked to Jen, I talked to Preston, Matt, anybody. So I think having an environment where you can reach out to people that are seasoned in the business and know what they're doing and get 4 or 5 answers has definitely helped me. But doing the loans has helped me more than anything else.
Absolutely. And I think in your transition, you were able to capture a bit faster than most would in this industry.
Yeah. And I will say that, right? Success is hard work and a little bit of luck. And I think me going through the last 6 years, up and down, it makes sense now because now that's the foundation for what my success can be here. So yeah, I would say I got a little lucky, but is it luck? No, because I spent the last 6 years going through this to figure that out. But yeah, and I realized that my business being so new to this side is going to look very different from, maybe someone that just got in and has no experience. But one thing I do want to talk about, if that's okay.
Yeah,
is
for sure. I just want to say furthermore on piggybacking on what you said, yes, luck has something to do with it, but you've got to put yourself in the position to get lucky.
Correct.
So
you got to put yourself out there. But when it comes to training and preparing, what a lot of people forget, and I always like to highlight, is at the end of the day, no matter where we work, we're all human, and relationships and connection to me is very important. So I think teams I was on in the past, it didn't work because they thought I didn't want to do the work, or maybe I was lazy. But for me, I'm a very emotional person personally. So if I don't feel like we're in it together or you're here to help, I'm really not motivated to do it, which some people may say, well, if that's how you are, then, that's why you didn't succeed at that or whatever. The difference here is, and I've told you this several times, praise you for a second, is when you and I talk and we have conversation and you coach and mentor me, we're in it together.
Absolutely.
Like, you got my back, and I know that. And it's not fake. When I met with you and I said, hey, I want to come do this, and you got excited and you said yes, we're still excited.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not
even
like,
more so now, because I know that you can do some loans.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can attest to that in the sense that your success, in my opinion, is a direct reflection of my abilities to lead you to the path that you're trying to get to. If
Sure.
your goal is to do 5 loans a month, hey, by all means, let me get you there. And hopefully throughout that process, you'll want to double that to 10.
Right.
And who knows from there. But I mean, if your goal is to do 2 loans a month and just get by and make, I don't know, a decent salary or a living, this probably isn't the place for you.
Correct.
And we would not have been able to see eye to eye with the level of training, coaching, intensity as you would probably like to see.
Yeah. And I would say that if you have a coach or a team leader, whoever, who you genuinely feel doesn't give a crap about you, none of the training matters.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Because it turns into resentment. I mean, it's like they're doing what they need to do, but only because they need to do it, not because they want to do it.
Right.
And so that was the difference for me. I care a lot about relationship, and I want to work with people that I feel like we're all in it together. So,
and to, I guess, to add to the coaching thing, in January, we're going to have my personal coach here, and we're going to jump on a podcast, and we're going to talk about the power of coaching within the mortgage real estate industry. But I like to let people know that I too have a coach, a business professional coach that is well worth the spend. There's many times where I too get lost within this industry. There's so much going on in between podcasts and running a team and running a branch and changing things on websites and all of the crazy things that I do personally. It can wear you down. In addition to, you can get lost.
What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is a direct reflection of you as the person that is open to that type.
Absolutely. And I would, I know I've said his name like 5 times, but I attribute that 1,000% to Steve Collins. And the way he always put it is, everyone that's performing at the highest level, NFL players, NBA players, they all have a coach.
Absolutely.
So if we're going to be professionals in this industry, we have to have a coach, period. I believe in coaching 1,000%.
And I think that when Katie comes in January, I'm going to have Steve on here as well.
I think that
would be a killer episode.
Yeah. Going back to that other podcast you did with Scott Maloof, all those really cool nuggets
he
absolutely dropped? That's all Steve. So I'm like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that man he's pretty awesome.
My favorite one thus far is Gut, Give Up Thinking.
Yeah, that's I like that cool. one.
So let's see here. We've talked quite a bit about your transition. We've talked about the differences. We've talked about similarities. We have also talked about your exposure to social media and how that can be a deterrent when you have people that are negative in regards to what you're placing on there, how often, things of that nature. I want to kind of segue into what your plans are for this industry. Where do you see yourself going this early in the game? I like to say you start things with the end in sight. What does your end look like? What is that?
So I think it all goes back to the why for everybody. For me, my why for a long time has been to turn the tide, right? For my family. I want to be that first generation that builds and leaves wealth for my kids and grandkids that come after me. So I would say my goals in the industry, number one, is to serve my clients at the highest level, period, no matter what. But also to put in the work and build the relationships so that I can build a team and be in a position to find people like me or see people like me and coach and consult them to the next level. And I've never been in a position to do that, but I think when you know, and my heart is so happy when I can coach and consult people. So I know that when I get to that level where I can bring people in, that's the goal. That's what I'm trying to get to. Right now, I coach and consult the clients, and the goal in the future is to coach and consult whomever is going to be on my team.
And I can personally attest that is a great feeling once you obviously never stop learning, but get to a point that you can then teach others or show others the path that you took without them having to step on the same landmines that you did.
Correct.
Essentially streamline that process as much as you possibly can within reason. And obviously it is different per individual, but there is no greater feeling when
I agree.
it's like taking that first loan that you close for a customer and the feeling you get, then multiplying it times 10 when you're now showing a individual who has a dream and a goal to help their customer.
Correct.
And then that becomes the new feeling
Correct.
that you're trying to chase.
Yeah. And the little taste of that for me over the years has been, because obviously I've been through coaching. And so I have a lot of knowledge on how to be successful. It's the implementing, right? That is the hard part for all of us. So, I'd have newer agents come to me and I would, basically share with them the information that I've learned and then see them do really well. Well, maybe for them, it wasn't a huge deal, but for me, it was, oh, that's the little piece I gave back to them. And Steve Collins, one more time, always said, and I think it's a Zig Ziglar quote, but he said, you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want.
And I agree. That is Zig Ziglar. And it is factual, in my opinion, because I have believed in that, then went out to do it, and now we're here.
And it's fulfilling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So wrapping up, is there anything that you would like to give in way of advice for someone, let's say Realtor, thinking about transitioning into the lending world? Because I will tell you, I get the question quite often from other Realtors that would like to make a transition, but are a little afraid of it being too different.
Sure. I would say, number one, make sure that coming to this side of the business is truly what you want in your heart, because it's a whole different animal. I love it. We're in the same industry, yes, but it is very different from your role as a realtor. So I think get a clear understanding of what you want out of it and what your expectations are of it. And if you want to take the leap, go, right? Give up thinking.
Yeah, give up thinking. That's exactly right. Well, I think that was fantastic. You've been super transparent. I appreciate that. And I want to kind of remind folks, or I never have really mentioned this, but if you get something from these episodes, if you can take something out of these and share it with somebody, or actually utilize to help yourself grow, to better yourself personally in way of mortgage, real estate, insurance, any of those things all together, please subscribe, share.
Sure.
We really appreciate it. We're not putting any marketing dollars behind this. This is truly intended to reach as many consumers, real estate, mortgage professionals, to show what's behind the curtain, to give the raw feedback from our perspective.
What really happens, yeah. And I will say too, maybe this is a little bit of a plug. I don't know if my socials will be on here, but if you are a younger person or maybe somebody that's new in an industry and you're hustling, and because I know how hard it is.
Sure.
It sucks. And when you feel alone, or you feel like, your family's, why are you doing this? People are talking bad about you. I'm always happy to talk to people about that. So if anybody ever comes across my stuff and wants to say, hey,
well, how would somebody get a hold of you on social media?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram?
The Jody Trevino.
The Jody Trevino. Yeah. There's only one.
That's the only one.
He's right here, y'all.
He's right here.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.